Hey, y'all, and welcome to another episode of the Millennial Management Podcast. I am your host, Brandy, the Millennial Manager, and today, y'all, we are talking about all things interviewing, okay? Every single thing that you want to know about interviewing, we're going to talk about today. But before we get started, make sure that you are following this podcast for all updates. Also, make sure you're following me on social media at Brandy, the Millennial Manager on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And now we have a brand new Patreon community that is $6 per month. And in that $6, you receive a few notifications throughout the week as far as what's going on with the podcast, bonus episodes, and then you'll also receive lives. Okay, so no more lives on social media. If I do a live on social media, it's going to be maybe like once a month. But on the Patreon, I'm going to try and keep it consistent to once per week. So if you would like to join that community, make sure you follow my link and let's get started. All right, so we are starting off this episode with an update. We had a email back on October 16th, and through the email, the writer, she's saying that she was having a hard time with a manager who was constantly asking her, is she going to quit her job? Is she going to quit her job? Is she going to quit her job? Like, she just, every time they interacted, that was what the manager was doing to her, and it was kind of bothering her. So she went on to follow up in the email. It says, I wanted to give you an update. You were right on not talking to the manager and keeping my head down. Today, there was a situation where I got blindsided by a member that is providing temporary support to our team. She was asking me if I was not happy about the work that she was doing to help the team. I was so confused since I've only interacted with her 3 times since she started, and I was never asked to give feedback about her work. I have no issues with her work. I asked her where was all this coming from, and she said her manager told her that upper management was complaining that she was not adequate for the job because my manager said that. I reached out to my manager to get clarification, and she said they twisted her words, and she has never said anything bad about this person's work ethic. No apology was given for the confusion, and that I somehow ended up getting the short end of the stick when I had nothing to do with this conversation. My manager then messaged me saying that I felt disconnected from her, and I told her that I don't feel like I'm getting the support and respect that I need. She said that she is very professional and positive and that there's a lot going on at work. She doesn't understand why I feel this way. I didn't respond back to her, and this is the woman that starts and ends meetings with the F word, yells and cries in them. So I don't agree that she is positive and professional. Pray for me to last until June of 2025. Y'all, this is why when I tell y'all that when you really understand a situation for what it really and truly is, there is no need to engage. Because they have revealed everything that you need to know. If you be quiet and listen long enough and pay attention long enough, you're going to be able to see everything that you need to see at work. They're going to reveal their real motives. They're going to reveal their real intention. This woman is not equipped to lead at all. And she's showing you all that. You just said that she's crying in meetings using the F word. And y'all know I likes to cuss. But I am not a cusser in work environments where I'm meeting with providers or team members. There are moments where you can say, oh, well, hell, whatever. But you don't use language like that in the workplace, okay? And I likes to cuss. But this woman is ill prepared, and she is not equipped to do the role. And just like I told you then, do not engage with her. Okay, that is the best advice that if you really want to make it until June of 2025, remove the emotion, Don't let that woman piss you off. She's feeding lies to other colleagues, and now they're carrying the bones all over the office for you to just pick up. And you picked up that bone. She's going to drop more. She's going to drop more. She's going to say more. She's going to make people feel some type of way because she is irresponsible with her language and irresponsible with the position and with the role. Okay? Okay. We're going to be saying a prayer for you. Okay, baby? Okay. So going into our topic for today, we are going to be discussing interviewing. All right. We're going to be discussing interview techniques. We are going to be discussing interview strategies. And before the interview is crucial. All right. Number one, I need you to research. Okay, baby, you're going to have to put some thought. You're going to have to put some effort behind this. You need to research the company that you are applying for. Look and see if they are a company that produces a service or maybe a product. You need to see what the customers, the people who are purchasing these items, the consumers, what are they saying about the company? What are they saying about the customer service? What are they saying about managers if they had to interact with a manager? What are they saying about this company overall? Once you make it to the company's website, you need to look up some of the key people and their roles, okay? This is going to be your CEOs, who are some of the directors. You need to know the who's who, okay? This is very important. If you want to make a good impression, you really want to land this role, you need to educate yourself on the company. And while you are there doing the research, you need to make sure that you are researching your role and researching the requirements. Read the job description to know what is required. We know that they can maybe add things later. We know that maybe once you discuss like your abilities, maybe they want to enhance that role and position, but you need to know the framework. Okay, you need to know the framework. You need to know the bones of the job description. What are the essentials? In addition to that, I want you to make sure that you are researching the pay, the salary for these roles. So while you're looking for these jobs, okay, you're looking for these jobs, you're looking for these roles, you need to make sure that you are looking for the comps. Just like when you search for a home online, you're looking for the comps in the area. You're looking for what these other homes in those areas are going for. You're also looking at how much other homes cost in the area. So this is the same thing. You need to look up and see what a operations manager makes in Detroit, Michigan. I'm just using myself as an example because I am a director of operations. So what does a director of operations, what does that person make? Okay, in Detroit, Michigan. What does that person make in Birmingham, Alabama? Those are two different cities, and they probably have very vastly different pay ranges. So you need to know what this company offers for those roles and positions. After, of course, you have done all those things, you have applied to the position, and let's say that you are securing an interview. Once you get in that interview, you need to make, or before you get to the interview, you need to make sure that you have a narrative, something that is very specific, something that is concise about you. What are you willing to share? And you need to stick to that ticket. This is your talking point. You remember we talked about this on social media, that you have to have talking points, not just for work, but also for your interview. What are some things that you want to hit on? Okay, highlighting your skills, highlighting your experiences, highlighting your achievements that are relevant to the job. Practice your pitch. What tone do you want to use? Okay, probably not, our talking voice that we use with our friends. You want to use a more firm, confident voice that you have. Practice in the mirror. Answer some of those questions in the mirror. So when they ask you, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, what are you going to say? What are your strengths? It should be always critical thinking. That is a very important strength to have. Outside of communication skills, Critical thinking means that you are going to be analytical and you're going to be able to make decisions without having someone hold your hand. During your interview, they're more than likely going to start the interview out with, tell me about yourself. Tell us about yourself. Why are you interested in the position? This is what starts and ends an interview instantly. When I go into an interview and I say, so tell me a little bit about yourself, people get comfortable because they think I really want to know the truth about themselves. So they either start revealing why they're leaving their current position or they tell me all of their business. And those people who don't understand what tell me about yourself means, because it doesn't mean tell me about yourself. Tell me about you. Tell me about your abilities, about what you went to school for. If you went to school, if you are in trade school, maybe you have some certifications. For providers, they tell me about the internships that they have done. Those are the things, because that is what pertains to the job. But when people hear, tell me about yourself, they automatically think personal. No, because that's not why you're here. All right. We're going to match our environment. The environment that you are in is a professional one. So your responses need to match the environment. So after you're done answering a few of these questions, they say to you, do you have any questions for us? And a lot of you say no. No, you told me everything. Oh, no, I don't have any questions. Yes, we do. Okay. What is the salary position for this role? Okay. What is the job description? Could you tell me about the dynamic of the team? What is the company culture like? Are there any future projects that you all are getting ready to start working on, or are they being prepared? What phase are those projects in? Okay. Those are the things that you want to ask when you're going into these interviews. You know why? Because that tells them that you're preparing for the future. You're prepared not only for right now, but you're asking, what am I walking into? What does this environment look like? Now, I know some of y'all are going to say, well, they lied to me. Well, there were some telltale signs. You remember now, if they say, well, we're like one big happy family, that's your red flag. That is the biggest red flag. And companies use that type of verbiage because they feel like family means loyalty. So if we say we're one big happy family, because you're loyal to your family, they want you to be loyal to this company. And I want you to always remember, there is no loyalty when money is being exchanged or when money is involved. Last Friday, I encountered a young lady at an interview, and this was for a front desk receptionist position. It was a treatment planning position, so she will be discussing with patients out-of-pocket expenses. If patients are looking to get implants, she'll be working with very closely with the doctor. You know, just a front desk dental job. Okay. Now, she did have experience. However, that's what pulled me or made me pull her resume. But then when I brought her in, she came in with a sweater, leggings, and slippers. Okay. Not any slippers. These are the UGG slippers. They're very cute, but not appropriate for work. And she got mad because I would not move forward with the interview because of her attire. And I immediately dismissed her. I let her know first that, this is not appropriate for you to wear to an interview. I asked her if she had any professional clothing because I was willing to overlook, the initial sight of her. But when I saw that there clearly was no issue with money, she had $95 slippers on. And I'm like, I am going to use this moment as a teaching lesson because that is not appropriate for you to wear to any interview at all. I don't care if you're interviewing at Burger King, at McDonald's, at Walmart, Amazon. I don't care where you are looking to interview. You need to be dressed professionally, okay? Because if you want people to take you serious, you need to look the part. I'm not going to take my doctor serious if I walk into my appointment and they're wearing bedroom slippers. I'm not going to take you serious. Everything that you say goes out of the window because of how you are dressed. And that's just a fact. People can say that appearance don't matter if I can do my job, or it doesn't dictate whether or not I can do my job. Yes, it does. It does. Because if you take pride in your appearance, you are going to take pride in your work, because that speaks for you just like your appearance does. It does. Period. Now, this part of this is going to be very short. Make sure you wear some professional clothes. Do you hear me? Do not wake your ass up another day and go to an interview dressed like you just rolled out of this bed. Do not do it. Put you some clothes on, comb your hair, okay? Put some effort into your appearance. You have to be dressed appropriately for people to take you seriously, professionally, okay? You must. It is a must. I don't care if it's an entry-level position. I don't care if you're working in the mailroom. I don't care if you're working at UPS. You're working for the postal service. I don't care where you are working. You need to dress professionally. It is essential for you to not only get the job, but maintain it. Because how you're dressing when you come to the interview is more than likely how you're going to dress when you come to work on a regular basis. So you need to invest. Now, am I saying that you need to go out here and spend thousands of dollars? No, because clearly you're looking for a job. Okay, let's just say that money is kind of funny right now. Walmart has so many options. And I think I'm going to record a segment to show what you can wear at Walmart and Target that's not going to break the bank for an interview. Okay? All right. To wrap up the first impressions segment, you need to make sure that you are maintaining positive body language, smiling, okay? Make sure you show your pretty whites, okay? Make eye contact, sit up straight. When you go in for the interview, shake their hand, a nice firm handshake. Make sure that you are greeting them, okay? Good morning. How are you? Good morning. How are you? If you have a multi-person interview, start from the left and work your way down, however you want to do it. But make sure that you are going in for that handshake, okay? Because that shows that you are not afraid of whatever this is. You're not afraid of this interview. You're not afraid of the second round interview. You are confident in yourself, and so confident that you're going in first for that handshake. So make sure that you are doing that. Now, when you are inside of this interview, actively listening is very important, because we're not listening to respond. We're listening to understand. So when they're talking about the role, you need to make sure that you are actively listening so that you don't miss anything. Take notes if necessary, but you don't want to overdo it. If this is a virtual interview, I would definitely take some notes. If you can, maybe put a phone to the side and record the interview so that you can kind of hear back how you sound, and then also listen back to some of the things that were said in that interview, because you want to be able to use that as a reference. Like, okay, how can I improve this? Maybe you tanked an interview and you know you did, and you can't take a recording device inside of an actual interview face to face, but maybe you're interviewing virtually and you want to be able to use that as a point of reference. I definitely would, so that you have something to see how you sound, like listen back to it. I would ask for clarification if it's not something, or if it is something that you don't understand. I would make sure that you ask for clarification right then. So just say clearly, I'm sorry, I want to make sure I got this correct. This is this and that is that. And they will say yes, or they will say no, this is this and that is that. They will explain that to you. This goes right into your effective communication skills, which I know a lot of people are really, really great on, but some people really struggle. So when you are speaking, you need to make sure that you are speaking clearly and concise. Okay, straight to the point. Do not be a rambler. So I know somebody had commented, or they commented. It was a comment, and they were like, I want you to post more. Can you post about this, or can you make videos about that? I was like, I'm not a rambler. Okay? I am not a rambler. When I get online to social media, I have something that I need to say. And then I am more than likely going to close it. I may engage in some comments and stuff like that, but I do not overtalk. And that's a skill that I have had to acquire over time. I need to say exactly what I need to say, and that's it. That's why my podcast episodes are not long and 2 hours long, an hour long. I try to keep the podcast episodes down because I am not an overtalker. And plus, it's just me talking. You guys are talking back in the podcast like you're saying, oh, yeah, girl, yes, but you're not talking back to me. I can't hear you. So when I am posting online, I'm posting because I have something to say. And after that, that's it. I don't have anything else to say. And then I may skip a day because I'm not an overtalker and I only talk when necessary. So that is something that you need to carry into the workplace. Outside of this interview, talking when necessary is so important because you do not want to overtalk. Okay? All right. Thank you so much. A couple weeks ago, I received a question about how to respond when they ask the strengths and weaknesses question, because we know that they do that in every single interview. I do it all the time because what it does is it helps me see how you're able to spin. Okay, how you're able to get back to the positive, how you're able to maneuver in a difficult situation where you have to be kind of truthful, but not so much that you are making a fool of yourself. Okay, so like, for example, let's say that you struggle with Excel. Okay, maybe that is a weakness for you. You struggle with Excel. And they ask you, well, how did you solve this problem? Any weakness that you give, you need to list how you solved it. And if your problem is Excel or any other program, I would always say that I took a course. Even if it was on YouTube and that was how you got a better understanding, I took a course. Because I knew that Excel was a weakness for me, and I solved that problem by taking a course. You know what that means? That you are a person of action, and you are able to recognize your shortcomings and then able to figure out how to get away from that. You know what your shortcoming is. So you're saying, okay, here's the problem. Now, here's how I solve this problem. I've come up with a solution. It shows your interviewer that you are solution-based, you're a critical thinker, you're able to recognize a weakness and able to rectify it, okay? And able to discuss it. And that makes a really good leader. Number one, that you are able to recognize any shortcoming that you have, able to rectify it. And when you get in leadership, you're not going to be able to know everything, do everything. You have to recognize your weaknesses or have to recognize when you're going to have to delegate tasks to other employees. That's what makes a great leader. Now, on to our email segment. It says, I really enjoy your insightful content. I am a 65-year-old trying to get a part-time job. The problem is that most of my experience dates back to 1985 to 1990, which means that when prospective employers review my resume, they are automatically going to know my age. My accounts receivable experiences are within that time frame. Therefore, I need to show the work history. Is there any way around this without putting it on my resume? Do not list the dates that you worked at those companies. You only need to list the time. So, for example, okay, if you worked at Ford Motor Company, and that was in 1985 to 1990, I would list that I worked at that company for 5 years. I would not list any type of date because that is going to date yourself and they're automatically not going to pull your resume. So only list the length of time that you have worked for a company. The next email says, "Good evening. I'm going for a second interview, and they are asking about previous jobs from 2 years ago where I had to resign due to messiness. I am not applying for the same type of position. I was an AP and now applying for a related service position. What's the best way to answer when asked why I left?" Baby, you tell them you are looking for new opportunities. Okay, I was looking to expand my knowledge. Maybe you took a course or two. Maybe you wanted to try a different career field, but do not tell them that you resigned because of foolery. Do you hear me? Keep it out of the interview. I don't care if your manager or your boss was an egotistical maniac who did all this crazy shit while y'all were at work. Do not say it. Because all they're going to hear is drama. And they're going to write on the top of your resume, drama, baggage, problems, whether you were right or wrong. They don't care. And they're not there to determine whether or not you are there. And I also want to say, when you go into these jobs and you tell them about how much of a terrible experience you're having with your current employer, you are not... or the company is not Superman, okay? Most times we're going there trying to tell them that because we really want to be rescued from whatever this situation is. This new company is not Superman. They cannot solve all your problems. They cannot rescue you. So when you are going into these jobs, you only need to, or interviews, you need to tell them pertinent information. I was looking to expand my knowledge in certain fields. Maybe you wanted to transfer to a different career field. Anything other than the foolishness that happened at work. Do not tell them about how you couldn't get along with certain employees. Don't tell them about any favoritism. Don't tell them anything that happened at work. You couldn't get along with your boss. That is not the topic of discussion because this company is not here to save you. Okay? You're here for a job interview and you need to keep it related to the job interview. You hear me? Okay, thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck, baby, on this second round interview. So clearly you were great because they brought you back for a second interview. So remember, please, that you are not there to be saved. You are there to do a job. All right, and to our last email of the day, it says 2 months ago, I was given an option to resign or be terminated from my director position. I am 46 and have never been fired before. I chose to resign. I was having some problems with work, so I think it was a justified termination. I did have a PIP with goals that I thought were unobtainable in 30 days, but I felt I put myself in that position. This left me jobless and depressed. I am so sorry, honey. I have given this company 10 years. I have tried to find a job, but no one would even interview me. I couldn't even get a gas station to interview me. Well, 2 weeks ago, I received a call from my former co-director. He asked me to come back to work and to work with a specific family. It's a family that has someone with with disabilities. And it says that they love me. While talking to him, I found out that my former position was eliminated and the group homes I was in charge of were reassigned. I was very surprised and confused. Current. Okay, this was the background first. Current. It says, since I have not been able to find a job, I accepted the entry-level position temporarily. I figured it's money and I need money desperately. Am I being stupid for going back to this company? I plan to renew my teaching license and go back to the classroom in January. Okay. If for some reason that falls through, should I stay? Like I said before, I couldn't even get a gas station to hire me. I hate being in a desperate situation. I don't make the best decisions in that state. Please help me. Baby, you did the right thing by going back. And let me tell you why. Pride, number one. It keep a lot of people hungry and broke. And you made the right decision to put what is necessary, your priority. You made that first. Okay? What is the priority? paying your bills and making sure that you have stable housing while you can figure out this work situation. It is very hard to figure out a work situation, a place to live, how you're going to feed and clothe yourself. If you have a family, how you're going to provide for that family. You know that that's very hard to do when you're also looking for a job. It's hard to do those things simultaneously. But it's easier to find another job when you have all those other things being taken care of by your current employer. So I think you did the right thing by going back to work. Thank God that they called you because you were really struggling trying to find a position, which means that if you're having a hard time finding roles, you need to start networking, number one, putting yourself in some environments where the people there are looking for new talent. They're looking for people who think outside the box. Your company, I think, was trying to eliminate your role for financial reasons because they hired you back as an entry-level position or at an entry-level position, which means that would possibly bring lower pay. But being able to pay your bills is better, okay, than nothing. So I say that you made the right call by taking that job. And also you have a plan to get out. You're not trying to stay stuck. You're going to take some more courses, renew your license, get back in the classroom, and do what you really love to do. So you have a plan. There are plenty of teaching jobs and teaching roles available across the country. So I don't think that that's going to fall through. You just need to stay motivated and don't get comfortable. They already showed you that they will throw your ass out to the dogs immediately. The first sign of problems, you were there for 10 years. So do not get comfortable. Use them like they used you. Use them right now as a stepping stone to make sure that your home life is taken care of so that you can really focus on getting your certifications, so that you can focus on getting back into the career field or into your desired career field. So kudos to you, baby, for putting down that pride and picking up necessity. Okay, making the things that are important a priority. You need to have stable housing. You need to have food. You need to have clothing. And you cannot do that without a job. So shout out to you for doing that. That is going to wrap up today's episode. I also wanted to make an announcement that we have a guest coming on to the podcast. Her name is the Recruiter Cousin. She is going to be on our episode that is airing next Friday. Now, Patreon, they get to put in questions that they want to ask this recruiter. So if you have a question, you need to make sure that you are a part of the paid community on Patreon so that you can get your questions out front to the recruiter. The episode is going to air next Friday, so make sure you are following for updates. I am going to be going live for part 2 of this interview topic because I had a lot of emails that revolved around this. So I'm going to be going live, or it may be a bonus episode, but either way, I'm going to make sure that I notify you all. In addition to the Recruiter Cousin coming on, make sure that you're following her on social media. I'm going to list her handle. If you have any questions that you would like to ask, we're going to make sure that we include those, but you have to be in the Patreon. Okay. All right. Now, I will see y'all on the internet. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Make sure you're following the podcast, the Recruiter Cousin, and make sure you're following me on social media. And I will see y'all later. Bye-bye.